My name is Sean McClure, and I have the honor of serving on the board of directors for Recovery People here in Central Texas. In celebration of Recovery Month every year, Recovery People likes to recognize individuals who have made significant contributions towards supporting the recovery community. Our most prestigious award is our Lifetime Achievement Award, which is awarded to those in recognition of their life's work promoting recovery from substance use and related mental health challenges. The award recipient must publicly self-identify as being a person in recovery from substance use or co-occurring issues and/or affected family member in recovery. They must also demonstrate accomplishments that reflect Recovery People's mission, vision, and values. To add to her already impressive list of achievements, this past September, we were thrilled to have been able to award Dr. Lori Holleran-Steiker Recovery People's Lifetime Achievement Award for 2023. Lori has been in long-term recovery since 1987, and being of service has been her greatest joy and pursuit. She has worked and researched in the area of substance use, misuse, and addictions among youth and emerging adults since 1989, has played the role of faculty liaison with the UT Center for Students in Recovery since 2004, founded University High School, Central Texas's first recovery high school in 2014, has over 100 peer-reviewed publications and 3 books. We could go on all evening, but here in a bit, we will give our audience here an opportunity to do just that. One of the most well-known social workers in Texas and recipient of Recovery People's Lifetime Achievement Award for 2023, I am excited to introduce Dr. Lori Holleran-Steiker. Hey, Lori.
Hi, Sean. Thank you so much. This is such a joy.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. It's a joy to be able to speak with you today too. I gotta say, though we've never met in person, I don't know if you remember, but we actually have interacted before. I didn't remember it until I was looking up your email address and realized that you and I had actually had a short email chain a couple years ago. I had been thinking of stepping away from tech and joining the recovery industry, and had reached out to a mutual friend, Laura, over at the Sobering Center here in Austin. She introduced me to one person who brought me in to another person and to another. And you were in that long list of people who were just so excited and eager to help me, which was amazing. Looking through that old email chain, I was just remembering how blown away I was that you and the others on that chain were just so eager to help and just so ready to help. No questions asked.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Did it work? Did we get you out of tech? No.
So I'm still in tech. This little thing called COVID occurred. So some decisions were made. However, it did actually indirectly introduce me to Recovery People. So I've still been able to give some of my time outside of just like the recovery rooms and be able to serve on the board, which has been such an honor to be able to serve in such an amazing nonprofit and be able to have amazing conversations like we're having today.
I love that.
Awesome. So starting out, there's likely going to be a bunch of people watching this video who are brand new to recovery, just like we were at one point. Do you have any advice for anybody who's, taking their first steps in recovery, or maybe even hasn't taken their first steps and they're kind of maybe envisioning what their first steps are going to be like, taking that plunge? Do you have any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with those folks?
Yeah, I don't know if they're wisdom as much as experience. I think that one thing that we know about people who are actively in use and it's no longer working for them is that it starts to, the payoffs start to diminish and the downsides start to grow. And I think taking note of that and experimenting with making changes in your life is the first most important thing. I used to believe that, and I think many of us in the field used to believe that you had to hit this horrible bottom, so to speak, in order to be willing to do what it takes for recovery. And I've come to understand that that changes can be made at any stage. especially in my work with really young people, that even the big book says that, we come to um, work with people who are scarcely more than potential addicts and alcoholics. So I encourage people to dip their toe in, experience some meetings, experience some connections with other people who have done recovery, and recognize that recovery never looks the same for everybody, and that any change that you make that may be good for your own wellness and progress is a great first step. I think that the part that was most terrifying to me in the beginning was, I think it's just like any depth of dismay that people experience. When I looked at other people in recovery, I just simply couldn't imagine that that could happen for me. And so it does take a huge leap of faith. And very often, the feeling of somebody new to this realm is one of self-loathing. I think the book calls it um, pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization. And I think anybody that has had any version of recovery knows that sensation. And when you're in that space, it's very hard to experience a sense that you could step out of it. And I think that that spark of hope, sometimes it's simply a coincidence. You meet somebody who has some experience with this stuff. Um, I think that that's the beginning of the miracle that I have witnessed in so many people's lives, is just, even without any sense at all that that could happen for someone, that they are willing to step into it and act as if that maybe that they could experience relief. And so I encourage people to get around people in recovery, to experience not just meetings, but there are all kinds of sober activities that you can participate in, running groups and events at the university, and lectures and theatrical performances, dances. And I think whatever you're interested in, I know that I've encountered a couple of people in my Zumba class that knew that I was in recovery, who at some point said, "How did you do that? It's hard to do Zumba with a hangover on Sunday morning." So, so I just think talking about your experience and recognizing that there are so many roads to recovery. And I think that that's a relief to a lot of people. We used to think that you just had to totally fall apart, and then the assumption was that you had to go get treatment. And then the assumption was that you had to be abstinent from everything for the rest of your life. And that is true for some people. And I must say that has been true for me. But it's not true for everybody. And so I just encourage people to connect and talk about their experience and reach out, because the one thing I know about the people in this room and in the rooms of recovery programs, regardless of the mechanism, is that their primary purpose is to be in recovery and help somebody else get into recovery. And that I have rarely, if ever, witnessed somebody who wanted help that reached out to somebody, and that resource wasn't there. So I just, the community is absolutely incredible. And once you experience it and witness it, and get a taste of it and a feel for it, um, and sometimes it'll carry you, even if you don't know the next right thing.
For sure. And you said there may not be any wisdom in that. That was very, very wise words. Um, I know that a lot of that has been very true in my own personal journey. And just like I was saying earlier, just, you and those others helping me out 3 years ago, you didn't know who I was, but I was reaching out, asking for help, and there was no delay in providing help. And that's been really consistent experience for me throughout the community, because everybody that's in the community has, I guess, been in a similar situation. And, getting into recovery is asking for help. Uh, if you distill recovery down to its very essence, I can't do this on my own. I need help. And that can be a terrifying place to be, a devastating place to be. But also it's amazing. There's a, that gift of desperation that we talk about all the time. And it's amazing how, just a little spark like that, like you said, can lead to so much. Not to share too much about myself, because we're here to talk about you and to you. 1 year ago today, I was calling treatment centers. I had a relapse in the summer of 2022, and my bottom was exactly 365 days ago.
That's amazing.
And now I get to sit here and talk to you, and be of service to this community that has given so much to me. I think that in and of itself is just evidence that the stuff really works, and the people that we meet in recovery are just I've never met anybody like the people I meet in recovery. It's There's just so much honesty and vulnerability. It's just beautiful.
I
So
love that. And congratulations.
thank
That's
you.
huge.
I wish I could say that today was my sobriety date. I did have a small slip back in March, so I'm still a couple of months away from that 1 year. But you know what? I feel great. Life is good. So, we've spoken to those who are new to recovery or thinking about taking that next step. There's also a lot of people who will be watching this who've been in recovery for quite some time, like you. 1987, that's super impressive. Um, we hear stories like that all the time, which is great. A friend of mine just picked up his 50-year chip on Christmas, and it's just an amazing thing to see these days. Uh, so, during COVID in 2020, I started stepping away from recovery a little bit, and it ultimately led to this 2 year crumbling that led to my relapse. Um, what advice would you have for people like me who might get burnt out or, lose that spark and having trouble keeping that flame going?
Oh, goodness. Um, I think some of it is starting each day with a sense of gratitude for what I've been given. And I think that I have a very clear sense that all the gifts of my life came as a result of me being willing to do what it takes to be in recovery. Um, but a lot of this, I've witnessed folks that have had, immense long-term recovery. I've witnessed people that have struggled for longer than they've been in the program, and who have just a couple of years, but tremendous wisdom from their life experience, and folks who have experienced multiple periods of time where they've had to resume use. And I think that one of the keys to this stuff is really, for me, is being aware of my humanness and just being gentle with myself, because I think we as people with substance use disorders, it's really important to us what people think of us. It's really important to us that we feel okay, that many of us are perfectionists. And I think that when we are hypercritical of ourselves, a lot of times, I've had sponsors that have said, that's your disease talking, because if I convince myself that I'm not lovable, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or that I fooled everybody and they're going to find out, all of those sensations that I think many of us as people with substance use disorders have experienced, and those that aren't too. I mean, I now practice these principles in all my affairs, and I have some very close friends that are not people with substance use disorders who say, I totally identify with that. So I think some of it is, and what keeps it alive for me, is that nobody ever masters the art of living perfectly, and that um, intimacy is hard, relationships are hard, friendships can be hard, work can be hard. knowing what our place is in the world and what our next right thing is can be really hard stuff. And I think everybody experiences that. And so one of the things that has really helped me is to just show up as I am. And I shared with some folks the other day, like, I have never regretted my vulnerability. And I think it took a long time to learn that. I mean, even in meetings, my heart would race and I would try to think of uh, really brilliant things to say, sometimes at the expense of hearing what other people in the meeting were saying. And then I would share, and then I'd be hypercritical, reviewing what I shared, and then miss the rest of what people said in the meeting. And I think getting out of my own head and into the stream of life and just going with the flow is a huge part of this. And it has led to me to, you know, as a kid, I would only participate in things that I knew I could be the best at. So I wouldn't even try to do something that I was going to look silly or sound bad or not be good at. Um, but now I'm free to experiment doing things that I'm not good at and having the life experience, or doing things I'm afraid of. My husband and I just did snorkeling on the reef in Belize the couple of weeks ago, and I was pretty terrified. I'm not an ocean person. Wasn't particularly good at doing it without swallowing a whole lot of salt water, but then got to see these incredible um, incredible creatures, like the otherworldly experience of seeing stingrays and sharks and barracuda and all of that kind of thing. So I think what keeps it vital for me is a constant awareness that at any moment I could learn something that will bolster me and allow me to be of greater use in the world and helpful to others. And getting out of my own head helps. Not worrying too much what people think and doing what my heart leads me to do. But I think the other piece in what keeps me around is I have worked very, very hard on having a spiritual life that allows me to feel connected with not just my higher power, but people who have passed away before me. And I have a sense of connectedness with and responsibility in all of that. And it always serves me well to keep it as simple as waking up in the morning and saying, show me the next right thing I can do to be useful and helpful and loving in the world. So that's what works for me.
That's beautiful. And I actually asked that similar question the other day and got a pretty similar response. I feel, I guess, variety is great, but just not being afraid to try something new and get out of your own way. I I can certainly relate to so much of what you said, especially sitting in a meeting, just spending the entire time thinking like I have to say something so profound, because I mean, like there's a bit of that addictive streak in there, and it's you know sometimes you do say something super profound, and you get like this response from the crowd. It's the head nods or the um, you can tell everybody's like really really jiving on what you're saying there, and there's a bit of a rush with that, and that's certainly something I struggle with. So thank you for putting that into words. Um, uh, Once again, it's good to know I'm not alone.
I want to share one more thing. And I've shared it with a number of people in this room, so I apologize to those that this is repetitive. But my father, while he was dying, um, poor thing, having a daughter that's a social worker and a person in recovery, I kept wanting him to share his life wisdom with me, and he would be like, "I'm tired, no more wisdom." But his favorite saying, and he shared it with me a number of times. His favorite saying was, "It's an inside job." And, for a person who was all about accomplishment and awards, frankly, and things like that, in order to feel good enough and okay. His big challenge to me was a challenge that's in the Al-Anon Just for Today, which says, do something kind for somebody and don't get found out. So really taking my ego out of things and having some private, having enough of a relationship with my higher power that I'm doing things in the world that aren't simply for attention and resume items and award winning and all of that kind of stuff. It's just suiting up and being a good person and being kind or saying the kind thing, doing something for somebody else and not getting found out has been really helpful. So that's just something I wanted to suggest that people
Awesome.
try. It's not easy to do for us that like positive attention.
Right. Like when I'm walking my dog and I find a piece of trash and I pick it up, I'm like, oh, I hope somebody sees me being such a good citizen over here. At the end of the day, the trash still gets picked up. So, there's worse things that could happen. Awesome. So we talked about those in recovery that are fresh, those that have been around for a little bit. And there's a lot of others involved here too that aren't necessarily in recovery. You kind of alluded to that earlier as well, that we have friends and we have family, partners, spouses, parents, children, all these people who have, walked with us on this path. Maybe they haven't walked with us on this path. Um, do you have any advice for these folks? Is there a way that, they can help support that person in their life who's in recovery? But also, how do they take care of themselves and have boundaries and be able to be healthy and kind to themselves?
Yeah, I mean, that is, I've had so many experiences of family members feeling desperate to help someone in recovery who haven't been able to. So I think one is recognizing that that you may or may not have the power to change somebody. I mean, you can certainly share yourself with love and share resources and try to influence people's choices. But I think ultimately letting people have um, their sense that their life is their own is really, really important. I think listening carefully sometimes is much more helpful than talking. Um, I still sometimes wince when um, when when I hear the word advice, because can I really advise somebody uh, in what they ought to do? I think speaking from your own experience and how you feel, so speaking from your own vantage point or lens, I think is usually more helpful than saying you ought to. It's to say I feel, or here's what I'm witnessing. I love you. Here's my hope for you. And I think the other thing is people with substance use disorders are so used to feeling less than and a lot of self-doubt, if not self-loathing, that that family and friends, I think, are the people who can make meaningful observations about that person's strengths, um, and and believing in somebody even when they have had multiple attempts at recovery and not been able to. I mean, there's a friend of mine in the rooms that shares that they were coming and they were relapsing and coming and relapsing, and that the reason they kept coming was that the particular group that had wrapped their arms around this person said, we love you no matter what, and we believe that you can do this. And I think that was, I've witnessed that numerous times. So like, I know that one of the things that keeps people sometimes from 12-step programs as a resource is the whole concept of higher power and God, because it is clearly written into the book. So there's no doubt about it. But Very often I suggest to people that other people can be their higher power when they first start in this program, like GOD. I had a sponsor that used to love acronyms, and she used to say, that stands for good orderly direction, or that stands for group of drunks. Like, these people know more than you do about what you ought to be doing to get this right. And many of you guys know that one of my favorite stories is that my very first sponsor used to give me these silly assignments. Like, I had to brush my teeth with my left hand and walk a different way to work every single day and carry somebody's bags from the grocery store to their car before I went home after work. And I was just like, Eloise, what the hell? Like, this stuff is not in the big book. I don't understand why you're asking me to do this. And she just kept giving me these assignments and kept giving me these assignments. And then one day she just stopped giving me those assignments. And I was like, Eloise, what am I supposed to do? Like, where's my assignment? And she said, you don't need them anymore. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, you've been following my direction without asking me, why do I have to do this? And so I think a lot of times the thing that we're lacking in the beginning is this real belief that if we do what other people did, that it might help. And we think we know ourselves so well that, oh, that would never work for me. But I think that that's a piece in this. So I think family members and friends can really be the holding environment, be that comfortable, easy chair that people can fall back into. And I also think one more thing, that the instinct is to share emotionally with people we love, beg, plead, yell, scream, all of that, praise, celebrate, all of the, emotive stuff. And sometimes that actually makes it more inaccessible for people because it feels like it's about somebody else rather than about you. So I suggest to family members and friends that they share observations about what they see and how they feel about that, as opposed to um, huge outpourings of emotion. I think it's helpful for people to hear what family members' vantage point is and friends. So
Yeah, that's all beautiful stuff. So in just a moment, this is to the audience. We'll in just a moment we'll be asking for you to chime in and share some of your stories. So if you'd like to share, go ahead and raise your hand now. Lori and I are going to chat for a little longer, and then I'll start getting to you folks. So Lori, um, obviously you have had a very extensive and impressive resume that covers years and years working in the recovery community and the industry. I know there's many out there, myself included, who are interested in finding ways to give back in a professional capacity to recovery organizations or beyond recovery organizations, any way to help. Do you have any experience or insight that you can share that might be helpful to those who are considering making that leap?
absolutely. So one of the things that I am seeing in this realm of recovery that's relatively new that we love is that there are opportunities for being trained as a peer recovery support specialist. If you're a person in recovery and you want to give back, I think it's one of the beautiful ways that you can learn some extra skills, reach out to your local recovery community organization. Here in Austin, it is Communities for Recovery, but they have them all over Texas and all over the nation. So that is one thing that I think people can do nowadays, that you can gauge how much time and energy you want to put in once you get certified. But it's a great opportunity, I think. I think that if you have financial resources, I can't resist saying that addiction recovery programs sometimes go under because of lack of financial resources. So raising money, encouraging people to give, having events, those kind of things, I think make a huge difference. And volunteering at agencies, I think is great, but some of them, of course, if you're working with vulnerable people will have expectations for that volunteering. So you might have to undergo a training, you might have to commit to a certain amount of time. I know at that Recovery High School, our students that want to be tutors, for example, at the high school have to, do a background check or whatever it is, but it's worth jumping through those hoops to be able to be of this kind of service. And I also want to say, I spoke to multiple roads to recovery. If 12-step programs is not a realm that you feel comfortable with, there are lots of other mechanisms of recovery. I know a lot of yoga studios that have yoga for people in recovery. I know Philip Spear started a running group that actually works with the hospitality community, that, many people who are waiters and waitresses, a lot of times they used to get together before or after shifts to drink, and now they get together before or after their shifts to run. I think joining in community events and supporting recovery community events is huge, because I think that it bolsters community, but also gives these avenues for new relationships, and makes us all stronger. So those are some of my thoughts.
That's awesome. Yeah, I went through the RSPS training through Communities for Recovery. I didn't continue to go on to get my certification, but the training itself was so worth it. Being able to meet so many wonderful people, learn so many wonderful things. I definitely felt a lot more, just equipped personally to support those around me. Just to do put a little plug out there. There are a lot of scholarships out there for that RSPS training. In fact, Recovery People at recoverypeople.org actually has some resources and information there as well. So there's
And
a lot.
at UT, we have a new initiative called Shift, which has all kinds of harm reduction mechanisms for students at all stages of use, students that don't use at all the way to students that use regularly. And one of the things that we have going on at the university that I want to share that's really a culture changer is that we have something called shift makers. They were trained by Sands Bar, which is the first, a zero proof bar here in Austin. And so we actually have the opportunity for UT students to get trained as zero proof mocktail bartenders, and they now do events on campus, and it's a gift that they give themselves, because it's obviously really fun, but it also is really offering people options in situations where it used to be just about alcohol. And so so be creative, find out what your strength is. If music is your strength, I know Jenny's she's got her hand up, but she's worked in the world of musical events for a long time, and there are places for sober musicians and events, and so I think pick something that you love, and check in with any of us that are in this room, and we'll be able to connect you with something that you will enjoy.
That's awesome. I may have to get some emails or phone numbers from you after we're done here.
It's great. Happy.
Awesome. So great. I'd like to now take this opportunity to open up the floor a little and hear from your friends and family. We have all sorts of folks on the line here. And when we asked if you had anybody you wanted to invite, boy, did you deliver. It's really exciting to see so many faces here. So yeah, let's go ahead and open it up. I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce your name.
You
Lori,
wouldn't be the first. Hi, everyone. Lori, hi, it's Alana Zivkovich. Sean, it's so nice to meet you. Thanks for
Nice to meet you.
facilitating.
Eviana Zivkovich.
This
This
is-
is Daxton Zivkovich. Yeah, and I'm so yeah.
You are so beautiful.
How to spell his name. I know, Lori, I miss you so much. Thank you so much for including me tonight and letting my children be here as well at the moment. What I want to say to you is I think that when my life is ending and I look back at it and I think, gosh, who are that like small handful of people that have had the biggest impact on me in such a positive and beautiful way, you will absolutely be on that list. And that's already done and it's over. And it's based on years of such genuine, beautiful soul sister friendship. And I mean, I think about all of our lunches at Mother's, and we would sit down, and 2 hours later, probably one of us or both of us cried. And, we would just go everywhere. And you are such an inspiration. You are such a beautiful soul. You have been a guiding light for me in my life, in recovery and beyond. Recovery is a way in which that has existed, but it's everything. And I'm so honored to be able to be here and support you and tell you how much I love you. And this award could not go to anyone more deserving. And just thank you so much for being in my life and being such a guiding light in so many people's lives. So thank you. I love you.
I love you, Alana.
Awesome. Thanks, Alana. That's fantastic. All right, Carl, would you like to chime in? Take yourself off camera, or if you can. There we go.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm one of the few in the room, I think, that is not in recovery. However, I like to say that Lori and I like to call us cancer buddies in recovery, because we've both had that disease. And I don't know if those of you in the room understand it, but Lori has the rare disadvantage of having two major diseases in her life. And I don't know of anyone else who's done that and been able to get through it like she has. She's an extremely strong woman. We have been friends for many, many years and colleagues for many, many years. Not being in recovery, some people don't think that I know much about addiction, but I've been studying addiction for about 40 years as a scientist from a distance, trying to understand what's going on. And I started out actually as a mouse scientist. We used to give mice and rats alcohol. I was trained as a pharmacologist. And because I was doing that, I got the strange question in my head. I wonder what this thing about alcoholism is. So I started to attend 12-step meetings myself, just to try to understand what was going on. And I listened to the stories of the people who were in the audience and who were actually talking and trying to get through this disease. And over time, I developed friends. I got some association with the treatment centers. And then I think it kind of culminated, Lori, as you know, in my 2018 book called The Science of Addiction. And to show you the breadth of that book, and probably I overshot what I probably could do, but it's called The Science of Addiction from Neurobiology to Treatment. And I have a little bit of understanding of all of those areas. And I've spent my life trying to put it together as to what's going on in the brain of people who have this disease. But the big thing that Lori and I really would like to see conquered is the stigma about this disease. And I think that learning about the causes of the disease, as well as being able to treat it successfully over time, which we still don't have under control yet, we don't have the magic bullet, it's a great way of reducing stigma. And that happened with AIDS, and I think it can happen with drug addiction as well. So I look at Lori as an advocate, just like I am. And I do want to tell a story about Lori because she used to invite me to her 100 student classes, a signature course with freshmen. And I always said, after many years, I said, make the introduction short. Well, if you know Lori at all, she doesn't do that. She always has to overdo everything. And then I would she would go on and tell the students how great I am. In the meantime, I think, well, that's 10 minutes less I have for the lecture, So I spend another few minutes just saying, no, it's not really, I'm really not that good. But that's just Lori. You know, Lori is type of person who always supports people and makes them feel wonderful. We've gone to lunch together. We've been good friends, and we'll continue to be buddies in many different ways. And I just want to say congratulations, Lori. You fully deserve this award, and I love you.
I love you too, Carlton. And you've actually picked up on something that's really unique about the award is to get a Lifetime Achievement Award when I intend to have a lot more lifetime. I just love you so much. Thanks for being here. And
My
for all
pleasure. And I have to apologize. I thought this was going to go till 7:30, and I have my family waiting for dinner. So I'm going to sign off in about 5 minutes, but I want to hear a couple more things. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks, Carl. And we'll have this posted on the Recovery People website as well, and it'll be shared around. So if there's anything you miss after you sign off, we'll have it recorded for you.
Sounds good.
All right. Jordan, would you like to pop on camera and say hello?
Hello, I'm Jordan. No, my name's Blake. I'm just on Jordan's Zoom. That's my mom. Lori's my mom, and um, yeah, I just want to come on here and just say how proud I am to have her as my mom, and how proud I am of her recovery, and um, how important it's been in our lives that she's, um, been sober, and how I'm really proud that she's, helped so many other people go on that path. And I think that's, really something that I can, you know, look back on when I'm older and just think, you know, how impressive it is that, she was able to touch so many people's lives. So yeah, and I love her. So
I love you so much, Blake.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Really glad you're able to be here tonight. All right. So Jennifer, or was it Jenny? Is that what I heard?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell Lori how much I love her and how the impact that you have made in my life. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and I cannot imagine my recovery without Lori. I've met her over 20 years ago, right around 20 years ago, I guess. And when I'm having hard days and when I go into dark places, I have quotes from Lori and, another one of our mutual friends, Beverly, who's not with us, who I know is just cheering in Mazel Tov to you, because I know her love is all over this group tonight as well. The inspiration that you have given me, I know, is just a glitter of the inspiration that you have shared with so many people. And I do think of you as glitter. You are sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and glitter, and you are a just complete embodiment of love and light. And I feel so extremely blessed to know you, and so honored to be able to call you a friend. And I truly can't imagine that there's anybody more deserving of this award. And you know, I'll just say this real quick, like hearing about all your accomplishments, I was like, oh, damn. Like, because to me, you're Lori. And I sometimes forget that like you're a superstar. And I just, I love that I know you, and I love that you know me. And so thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. And I just, great big hug. And I look forward to seeing you in person soon.
I love you, Jenny.
I love you.
Thanks so much, Jenny. All right, Brent, welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brent Iverson. I'm a chemistry professor at UT, and I'm a former administrator. And I want to brag about Lori in ways that maybe you know this, but it's hard to imagine the impact she's had at the University of Texas at Austin as one person. So for 10 years or more, she was the chair of the Signature Course Advisory Committee. Signature courses, we've had it, she mentioned it just a minute ago. Signature courses are a course that all incoming students must take. We're talking about 10,000 students a year. And it's designed to help them succeed. Before Lori, we were focused on academics, the kind of things that you needed to be a successful college student. Well, Lori reminded us these are human beings, and they're going through the biggest transition in many cases of their lives, and they're going through stuff. And so the course was turned, because of Lori and her leadership, into a human experience, which has benefited more students than we can possibly count. Over that time frame, we're talking about 100,000 people, at least. Now, that's not enough for Lori. So she mentioned it, but she got together, and we've heard about the stigma, and that's something that the universities have not figured out what to do with. And thanks to Lori, we have a program at the university called Shift that is really shifting that narrative. It's a national model. It's not just a program at the University of Texas at Austin. It's a national model. And that's because of Lori, 100%. She did the impossible. She got the money. She got everything involved. And she led it in the right direction, exactly the way it should be done. It's being done right. And thankfully, it's being copied around the country. Finally, I want to talk about her impact on me. So I'm not a person in recovery, but a year ago, I joined this unfortunate fraternity of someone who was diagnosed with cancer. And instead of being thrown for a loop, I knew just what to do. I knew just how to be. And I was channeling Lori's strength. I've watched her. I've seen what she's done. It's made it so that it was an experience that has been, thankfully, and I feel a little guilty about this, I think I'm cancer-free. But it was because of her that I knew how to react. I knew how to respond the right way and how to do it. And you've made me such a better person, Lori. And thank you for including me in this. It is such an honor. I really, really do love you. Thank you.
I love you too, Brent. Thank you for everything you've said and everything you've done. And the miracle of your recovery too.
Thanks so much for sharing, Brent. I thought I saw another hand up. Did they decide against it? Okay, there we go. Hey, Casey. Are you there?
Sorry, I was muted.
There you go.
Hi, Lori. I'm going to try to do this without crying, but I thought it was appropriate to follow Brent because Lori, most people don't know this, but Lori is my academic mentor and has been for the last 5 years or so. And I mean, without a doubt, Lori's the only reason I'm still in academia because, you know, it can be very challenging being a female scientist in academia, particularly at an R1 institute. And Lori is the reason I'm still there. And also the reason why I love what I do now. You know, I think Lori makes it okay to have like to be an amazing academic, to be a researcher, to be an administrator, to bring some of these just skills to the table, but also to embrace who you are and to be soft and to be vulnerable, and to make it okay to show your weaknesses to the world. And I was always taught and trained to not be myself in the academic space, to not show my vulnerabilities, to be strong. And when I co-taught with Lori, I've co-taught with her for a couple of years in her society or young people in drugs class. And I, for the first time, witnessed somebody being completely vulnerable, completely real with the students, with these freshmen and transfer students, to the point to where that semester was magic. It was truly magical. And at the end of the semester, I've never witnessed students crying, talking about how amazing their seminar was. It's just the level of impact that she has in people in recovery, as well as students in the academic sector, is just truly amazing. So I'm so grateful for you and love you dearly.
I love you, Casey. Thank you so much.
Ms. Casey, thanks for sharing. Well, Lori, you got some folks who really love you. It's amazing. It looks like we got one more. Hey, Lynn, would you like to pop on?
Absolutely. Hello, Meredith. Meredith's here too, Lori. God, Lori is such an integral part of my life. And I've fortunately have had a chance over this past week on more than one occasion to be able to communicate that to her. And I love you dearly. One of the things that comes through and what everyone has shared is the direct and very deep impact that Lori has on those that she encountered. It's truly remarkable. And I characterized her recently as being my North Star, and that really is true. But I've had a chance to think about it, and I think that that certainly is what it is, but there's even more of a fun way of thinking about it. Lori is, as you can tell, is this wonderful Pied Piper. And she just exudes just living in life despite what her personal circumstances are. She finds ways to find joy in other people and to elicit joy from other people. And she instills joy in other people just by being who she is and the way that she connects with them. So for me, Lori is the come one, come all leader of the I Love You Gospel Choir.
I love that, Lynn. You're so awesome.
The come all leader of the I Love You Gospel Choir, because that's what she does. She rounds us up, she wraps us up, she makes us feel loved, and we just cannot get enough of her in our lives. And I love you very dearly, my friend.
I love you too, Lynn. Thank you. And Meredith too. I love you, Meredith.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Wow, Lori. I'm getting choked up, and I feel like I fly on the wall. Being able to experience all this love and this outpouring for you. I'm really glad that you're able to hear all this and they're able to share all of this with you. I really hope that our paths cross soon. I know that as I get more involved, I really have no doubt that our paths will be crossing sooner than later. Because it sounds like you're everywhere.
I'm not sure if they want to share, but I want to say that one of the gifts that Recovery People has given me as a result of this process and this award is the bringing together of multiple communities that are meaningful to me. And so there are a couple people here that represent my home group, which I would not be able to continue to be the person that I am and do the work that I do and have the connections and the relationships that I have without them. I have my community of opioid response folks in the room, and that has become a major primary purpose for me these days. And their work has been guiding light and magnificent to witness and to be a part of. I have other girlfriends in the room who are the sisters I never had. Oh, there's one with a heart. and who I can say anything to and bring anything to and know that I will be loved and accepted and healed by their presence. And I also have some amazing folks in the room who are, I see Brooks is part of my Death Cafe and the facilitator of my Death Cafe. When I was diagnosed with the stage 4 cancer, I didn't know what to do with that information. And I had not had a safe place to explore how I felt about that and how to rise to my highest self in the midst of a diagnosis like that. And that group for 2.5 or 3 years has been holding me like nobody's business. So I just have to say that the most beautiful thing about this award to me is it's a celebration of multiple communities that hold each other up, and that all of us are allowed to fall because there's this safety net of love and spirit and belief that is beyond anything I ever dreamt of. I have never seen anything like it. And so I get excited that I have my family and my friends from these multiple settings, friends that I've known since I first came to Texas, who took care of me then, and friends who I've only known for a couple of years, but these are lasting relationships. And I also want to say, that there are folks here from the Recovery High School, and the work that we've done with adolescents in Austin has been difficult, and we've held it together through some really painful stuff, and continue to show up and be innovative and love those kids and those families. So it feels weird that this is a celebration of me instead of we. I think that there's no question that anybody that gets this kind of award does it because they're on the shoulders of giants. And I love this group of people, and I'm very grateful for that. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing that, Lori. And yes, thank you everybody for being able to be here tonight. This has been an amazing time, an amazing experience for me, and I hope an amazing experience for you too, Lori. There's a lot of love in this room, and I'm sure this is just a small sampling of what's out there. Sounds like you have a lot of cheerleaders, and I'm glad they exist, and I'm glad you exist. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. This has been an absolute pleasure. And thank you so much to all your friends and family and support and everybody who shared all their wonderful anecdotes and warm feelings. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. So Lori, is there any closing remarks you'd like to make, or is there anything coming up you'd like to plug? You got anything you want to advertise? You got the horn.
Yeah, I don't know that I need to plug anything except walking through fear and taking risks to be with amazing people, and to believe that you can be exactly who you want to become. I think that sounds corny and all-encompassing, but I really believe that. And I have to say, any burning desires, because I know there are other people in the room that might be having afterthoughts, but I also appreciate that many of these folks actually showed up earlier in the week to a gratitude meeting that we held, and so I have heard from a number of them already, and I carry all of these comments and love with me. It's been very profound. It has felt, I think I shared last time that that it's very clear to me that we are all woven together into this powerful, gorgeous tapestry that I think remains beyond our presence in the world. So, so thank you all for that. I love you.
Awesome. Well, Lori, once again, thank you very much for joining. And everybody else, thank you very much for joining. I feel truly blessed that we were able to have this conversation tonight. And I will hold on to this forever, I think. And we got this video that we're gonna have recorded, and you can watch it on repeat for as long as you like, and just hear all these wonderful things people are saying.
And I will. Thank
Awesome.
you so much, Sean.
Yeah,
Thank you everybody for being here. I love you guys.
Love
Thanks,
you.
Lori. And once again, from Recovery People, congratulations. Well-deserved award.
Thanks so much.